everyone. Good evening. I hope that you enjoyed the soothing music at the end of the day and that it did not put you to sleep. Thank you for coming. We're going to get started. And I invite you to come on camera if at all possible. It would be great to see your faces. I'm enjoying the lovely pictures. I saw that there was another Rosie Grant and wondered if I had shared my link instead of some their generic link. I don't know, but Alexis is behind the scenes and she's taking care of us and our technology. So we'll just keep pushing along. I am Rosie Grant. I am the executive director of Paterson Education Fund. And I have the honor and pleasure of working with SPAN and the hub to bring you some workshops. Today, there was a little bit of a technical difficulty. I was hoping to bring you the school budget workshop, but we're not able to present that one today. And so we've flipped them. We'll present that one as the second in the series. Today, we're going to do Ask the Right Question. And all our other workshops are built on this ask the right question strategy. So I think it works for us to start with it. And then if you join in the others, when you join in the others, you will see that there are elements of ask the right question in each. So thank you again for coming. I'm going to share the PowerPoint and we will launch right in. Bear with me for one moment. Does everyone see my screen?
Looks good.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm here from Paterson Education Fund, and you will see a couple of my colleagues, several of my colleagues are here as well. In PEF, we're a nonprofit organization serving primarily Paterson, but also over the past several years have extended our reach and on invitation will do workshops to whomever asks for them and have done some training and workshops in other states as well through our national partners. Our work is to stimulate community action for change so that Paterson Public Schools ensure that all Paterson children achieve high standards. We do that by working with the schools, with the community, with the parents, and with anyone who has a stake in the game. If you want to see our kids do better and there's no hidden agenda that we know of, we will work with you and are happy to do so as long as the work is child-centered and meets this mission that you have before you. We are restorative practitioners at Paterson Education Fund. And so we always start with a check-in to kind of see where people are. So what you see in front of you is a restorative circle. We're not in circle today, but we're going to do a pretend circle and we're going to pass a virtual talking piece. So when the talking piece gets passed to you, we're going to ask you to introduce yourselves and we're going to ask you to pass it with something positive, love, joy, sunshine, happy thoughts. You could pick whatever thing positive and quickly get everyone to introduce themselves. So in one sentence or two sentences, but no more, because we want everybody to have the opportunity to speak, and we have a lot of materials to cover. Introduce yourself and one thing your child or children has done to amaze you. If you have multiple children, pick one and one thing, and just just the thing, not the story. So I'll start to model it. Hi, my name is Rosie Grant, and both my children have grown up to be good citizens, and I'm amazed by them. And with that, I will pass with joy to Brenda.
Thank you, Rosie. I received the joy, and Um, One thing that my son has does that amazes me is his love of learning. He's always learning something and amazing me with all of his knowledge. And with that, I will pass it over to Linda with it's a little drizzly where I am, so nourishing spring rain.
I like that. I was out in the rain today, so yes, it was nourishing. Hi, I'm Linda Reed, Paterson Education Fund. Um, my grandchildren amazes me every single day. I have plenty of grandchildren, and each one is that much more than the next one with some of the crazy things that they do. So I'm just amazed at how they I survive being a grandmother to these crazy kids. But and with that, I will pass it over with some good vibes to Sasha.
Hello, I'm Sasha Lowry, and I cannot narrow it down to one thing. So I'll just say my daughter's existence amazes me. I just watch her all daily. And I will pass it with uh positive vibes over to, I'll pass it with faith over to Faith.
I like that. Faith, are you able to unmute? Wonderful.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Faith. We're doing introductions, correct? Just want to make sure okay. I'm
Yes.
from New Jersey New Jersey Family Engagement Hub, and I'm the Northern Regional Family Engagement Specialist. And I see a question. I'm going to answer it. So I am not a parent yet, but I'll just speak into existence and declare it. So one thing that I know my children will do that will amaze me is their personalities. I think their personalities will make me laugh and smile. So I'm excited about that as a future mom. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. And Alexis, who do you want to pass it with some positivity? Pass it to.
I would like to pass it with some positivity to Kim Rivers.
Thank you, Alexis. Um, yes, hi, good evening, all. My name is Kim Rivers. I am the training coordinator on the Family Engagement Hub. And I'll just name for one of my children that has amazed me consistently is my oldest daughter, and I'm always amazed by her consistent pursuit of her passion and art and her applying herself, and it's starting to pay off because she's gotten a couple of mini grants and scholarships. So that persistence and consistency works. So thank you, and I am going to pass it on to um, Ms. Jeanette Mejias.
Thank you, Kim. I'm Jeanette Mejias. And one of the things that amazes me with my 17-year-old son is that he always has a positive perspective on life. And I appreciate that in him. He's just really wonderful in that way. What else? And I will have to highlight my 21-year-old as well. And one of the things that amazes me about him is his compassion, his love for others. Even when he has his own challenges, he's always just doing the next right thing, and I appreciate that in him. And let's see. I'm gonna pass it over to Madi Elvie, and I'm going to pass you.
But my English is not perfectly. I have two kids. My two kids is different years. One is 11, is Asperger, and my big one is 13 years old. Is autism, is I don't know exactly for the spectrum, which have more difficult talk. My two kids are saying it in every time it's a different word. It's a The big one's so sweet. He's just like in some person. He's huggy, his kisses. He's not reading, but he's a good boy. He's a big boy. He's 6 feet one. He's only 13.
Wow.
In
Hmm.
my other son, he's more small for he's a smart. He's low math. He's liking help me sometimes. Sometimes he's not liking something that everybody for me. He's go front to me. He said, "No, this is my mom. You respect what my mom say." For he's a really good boy. My two kids is for me is my life is I say every time the special kid is a wonderful kid. It's a change my life. It's a different days. It's a wonderful day. Sometimes so hard, but it's perfect for me. It's my gift.
Awesome. Gracias, Maria V.
Thank you.
Who would you like to pass it to? I think we have Alexis and Vilma left. So, Vilma, why don't I pass you some love and you take it? You're unmuted.
Good afternoon. My name is Vilma Ferreri. I work for Paterson Education Fund part-time. I'm very proud that my children graduated from college. And what it amazes me about them is their honesty and perseverance about their goals and their thoughts about life. They both have children, or one is gonna be making me a grandma again. And I always try to, I wanted them to participate in the community, both of them, but eventually they will come to Patterson again because they were born in Patterson. And I will pass my positive energy with love to
Alexis.
Alexis.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So I also am not a parent, but I do have experience working with kids for over 15 years. So one thing that I enjoyed the most about working with them was just watching them just experience what we were experiencing, whether it was being in the garden because I was the garden manager, or if it was just them being themselves and feeling accepted in the space that they were in.
Great. Thank you. And thank you all for participating. And hold on to those little joyful thoughts as we go through this workshop. But all the time, I encourage you to search for joy. And I see that Alexis is an amazing, supportive sibling. Thank you for sharing that, Jeanette, in the chat. So I'm going to share my screen again and we'll walk through the program. So we always use some conversation norms when we gather. They're pretty simple and straightforward. Be respectful, be fully present, speak from the I perspective, one mic, step up, step back, listen, listen, listen before speaking, be comfortable with silence, land the plane, and honor confidentiality. Are there any that I need to explain? If so, please just unmute and ask. And if you're comfortable with all of them, just give us a thumbs up, either virtually or with the emoji. Thank you so much. So the Right Question Project, and we call it RQP for short, is a strategy that was developed by parents in Lawrence, Massachusetts. There were parents, it's a high immigrant community, looks a lot like Paterson, and there were parents who were struggling to get their children through the school system, not really understanding what the expectations are, and also lacking the ability to have conversation in one language because they spoke a different language from the people inside the district. And they worked with some folks at a local university and developed this strategy. It's a very simple and powerful strategy. It's about helping people to think about what questions to ask. And it's been used everywhere in education, healthcare, social services, etc. One of our parents used it when DCPP showed up to her house. It was DIFUS at the time, and she said she had her list of questions ready when she had to go for the interview. There's another person who reported using it in court. So once you learn the strategy, it's very adaptable to whatever situation you might be facing in your life. So today we're going to explore how we use questions to get better outcomes for our kids. We're going to focus on questions because we think that asking questions is one of the best ways to get the answers that you need. We'll talk about using questions to build relationships. Do you think that will solve any of the issues? And I can't see the chat, but you can write your answer in the chat. But the answer is no, we're not going to solve any issues today. We're going to teach you the strategy that we hope that you will use to solve issues. I'm inviting people now to unmute. This is an interactive workshop. It will not be me presenting the whole time. And everybody's here, please unmute and participate. Stop me if you have any questions, and we will take some questions at the end as well. So there are two key questions in this. One is, what is my child learning? And the other is, what does my child need to learn? And my question to you is, are these questions different, and how are they different? So I do need a volunteer to tell me, and there are no wrong answers. How are these two questions different?
I, I'll jump in.
Thanks.
What is my child learning versus what does my child need to learn? Sometimes well, I'll just go based off of me. Like I was trying my best to make sure my daughter was ready for kindergarten, but I never really researched what she was supposed to know for kindergarten. So a lot of the academic stuff, like we were on track with, but I completely forgot completely forgot that my daughter needed to learn how to tie her shoes. So, and now, so
Yeah.
when I got the list of things that I'm like, oh, she could do this, she could do that, she could do that. Oh my goodness. We never went over that. So like some of the things, I guess you overlook because I don't know. But she needed to learn things that I wasn't even thinking about teaching her or making sure she knew. She knows how to tie him now though. So
That's great. That's perfect. That's, she was learning some things, but you weren't sure she was learning what she needed to learn. So we think that both these questions are critical and that every parent should be asking, what is my child learning? And also asking, what does my child need to learn? Because they are often not the same thing. So we'll dive a little bit more deeply into these two in a moment. I went forward too fast. So if you wanted to find out what your child is learning, what questions would you ask? And I'm going to come back because we're going to spend some time talking about them. Put them in the chat in this case. What is my child learning? What questions might you ask that would give you the answer to that question? And only questions here. Ask for the curriculum or lesson plan. So I'm going to change that, came into a question. Thank you for that. The question then would be, may I have a copy? of the curriculum or what is the lesson plan would be good questions to ask. What are some other questions? What does my child understand about this subject and what do they not understand? Good questions. Can you please share a copy of the curriculum? Thank you, Kim. What is something new you learned today? Of course, you could ask the child as well to see what the child is learning. Those are some great questions. Now, if you wanted to know what does my child need to learn, what are some questions you would ask then? How is he or she doing in school? It's a good question. I might ask something like, are they on track for graduation? Well, I took Sasha's question. What are some other questions you might ask for what does my child need to learn? Is there anything you struggle with or want to get better at? Yes, because then you're really pinpointing a need for that child. You might ask, we asked, what is the curriculum? What is the lesson plan? Does the curriculum align to the standards? For high schoolers, you might ask, how do they get on track for college? And so these are some of the questions that I want you to be thinking about and develop your own list of maybe 10 questions of what is my child learning? And if you don't currently have children, we're going to pretend and take it from the parent perspective, but you can see already, you can take it from any perspective. You could be advocating for a sibling, a friend, or the children you serve. There's a child that you're working with and he's not doing well in school or is doing well in school, but you notice that maybe he's not learning what he needs to be learning, then you start asking your questions. So now that we have some questions here, I want you to look at the question and somebody pick one that they think would get to the heart of the issue. It can be yours or somebody else's. Just unmute and say, let's use this question and let us know what question it is.
Rosie, I think the question that was asked is, how is what they are learning going to help them in another class if it can?
Okay.
I think that's a good question.
Okay. So if we take this question, how is what they're learning going to help them in another class? And decided this was the key question to ask. I would like you to suggest some questions now that would get us the answer to this question. So we're going to break down one question out of the 10 that we initially came up with. So if you want to know, say your child's name is Jay, how is what Jay is learning going to help them in another class, maybe in the next grade? What question would you ask? Jeanette says, I think asking the child how they learn best by reading, watching, doing, or talking about it. That's a good question to ask. You want to know if they're getting ready for the next grade. What strategies has he learned? Good question. Are there steps they need to follow? Can these steps be taught differently? Great question. Is Jay on track in math? So this is where you do get to the specifics as well. Yes, is Jay on track in math for her promotion to the next grade? You could ask that in every subject area. And so you build your second list of questions based on the one that you prioritized. Now, do you think it's possible if you want to dig deeper say in the math that you could, again, build a list of questions under the one that you think gets to the key? Just a yes or no there. Do you think you could do that again? So take is they're coming. Is Jay on track? Are there any skills or concepts that seem similar across different subjects? Wow, Jeanette, that's like a master's level question. But yes, the more you think about it, the more the questions come to you and you could keep on going. So that's another strategy. One is building your list of questions. Another is making sub questions under the ones that you think are most important or get to the heart of the issue. Because if you think about a back to school night or a report card night, you have some in some districts 5 minutes and some 15 minutes. You can't ask all the questions. So it's important that you write them down ahead of time. Think of the ones that are most important and write some sub questions under those so that you're ready to have that conversation. Go ahead, Sasha.
Now, my daughter's still very young, but you don't have to wait until back to school night or parent teacher night to
No,
ask
you
these
don't.
questions. You could communicate the whole time, right? Okay.
Yes, you can. Some teachers will right up front share this is how you send messages through the online platform. Some will share their emails. Less and less of that. I think they're more encouraged to use the online platform. And you're not limited just to the teacher. Ask your children question. Ask the security guard questions.
Yeah.
Think about what questions you want to ask and who to ask them of. Ask your principal if you can have 5 minutes of his or her time and ask those questions. So that was a great question. Thank you. Now, one thing to remember is there are closed questions and there are open questions. So some of these are closed questions. Who knows what a closed question is?
Yes or no?
Go ahead, Vilma.
Not questions like, does the math Jay is doing? So you're gonna get an answer of yes or no.
Right.
But
If
when
it
you
can be
ask,
answered with one word, it's closed.
yes,
Yes.
yes, no
Thank
more.
you.
Yes.
So in order to close it up, in order to open it, you
Open
might
it.
ask, sorry, it's already closed. Is this math on grade level, right? If you want to open it up, you may ask, how do I know if the math is on grade level? So usually if you're asking who, why, what, where, when, it's open. If you're asking if, it's closed. So be mindful of that. There are uses for closed questions. Lawyers like them in court. Were you at the scene? It's a yes or no question. And then they shut you down if you try to say anything more than that. So closed questions can be very powerful in certain circumstances. But what we're encouraging with Right Question Project is to build a relationship with your teachers, with the people inside the schools, etc. So you want to ask open questions so that they allow for dialogue. There's room for back and forth. Thank you, Alexis. Good capture. So we're going to save the chat when we're done so that you have these for notes, but I'll also share the PowerPoint, which won't have this discussion, but you will have the recording to reflect back on. So we've thought about several strategies here in the short time that we've been looking at questions. There's one more, and another is a redirected question. Sometimes somebody asks you a question and you don't have the answer. You could deflect that question by rephrasing it back to the person or by pushing it to someone else. And that's called redirecting. So I might ask you, well, what is your bedtime routine with your child as the teacher? As the parent, you could ask, do you have any recommendations for a bedtime routine? So you didn't really answer the question, but you rephrased it so that you're getting information rather than you're getting put on the spot. So that's another strategy that you might employ. Any questions so far? I'm going to share my screen again. And look at the strategies. So the first one was brainstorming. And brainstorming is just where you make your list of questions. Any question is a good question. You put them all down. In this case, you get to about 10. And then we looked at prioritizing. Pick the one or two that you can zone in on because they get to the core of your issue, of the thing that you want answered, your main question. Branching is that strategy of taking any of the main questions and developing questions under it. And then you could take any of that set and develop questions under them. So you could branch out to get as deep as you want to, depending on how much time you have. And then we thought about types of questions. Is it open? Is it closed? How do we rephrase it to make sure it's open so that we're encouraging dialogue? And sometimes you want closed questions, right? Did you pull my child's hair? Was the other child talked to or referred for counseling, etc.? Sometimes you just want to know what happened. You do want it closed, but for the most part, you want to use open questions to encourage relationships. And then I should have added here, we also talked about redirecting questions. So my palm tree is here because it's my best example of branching. And some people are probably happy that I don't draw it anymore. Now that we're virtual, I have it already done. So your main question is the trunk, right? And then out of your main question, you're thinking, what questions can I ask to get me this answer? That's your branches. So you're branching. But then you can take any one of those questions that you branched out and branch again. And you have these little branch out, and you can ask any number of questions under any one of those until you get to the core of your issue. And that, my dear friends, is the most important thing to learn about asking the right questions, is to practice the strategy of question asking. So whatever the issue is that you're trying to solve, be it that you have a budget and you only have $100, and what are you going to buy with it to feed your family for the week? Or you're looking for a new apartment and you have to understand what your needs are and what questions to ask when you go to see an apartment. Or you have to go to court, or you're just trying to figure out what you're going to do next in your life. How do I best reach this goal? Might be your main question, and then you start brainstorming, prioritizing, branching, and then thinking about how to phrase your question so that you have the type that you want. So far, so good? Okay, we're going to
Yes.
move on. So now we're going to have another exercise that's interactive. Imagine that your child, or the child you're advocating for, caring for, care about, and love, is in kindergarten. And you get this report card in the first marking period. Do you like the report card? So keep it in mind, because I'm going to stop share. I want to see you again. Actually, maybe I'll put it in the chat. Does the chat block my screen? Okay, how do you feel about this report card? You can unmute and pop out your answers, or you can put it in the chat. Generally too good to be true. If you saw this report card, it seems everything is okay, I think. Yes. Perfect. Would you have questions to ask about this report card?
I would have a lot of
A
questions.
lot of questions.
Like there's no
Okay.
like
What are
social
some of
or
them?
there's no like social or emotional like things on this report card, no development. Like
Okay.
this is kindergarten.
It's
So
kindergarten, so something's missing. Yes.
And some things
Yes.
are too much, like kindergarten wouldn't have history or world language, I would think,
Okay. Right. For the most part,
for the
some
most
might,
part.
but I would ask the question. Okay, so you've seen the report card, you have your questions. Let's focus on math for a minute, right? So the child got straight A's, but definitely got A in math. And I say to you, and here is the curriculum for math that they're doing in kindergarten. Now, this is pretty advanced for kindergarten, right? Do
Looks
you have
like.
any questions? It's a good report card. Ah, that was an important one, Kim. I just saw it. No variance. What is the measuring tool? Great question.
Mm.
Do you have any different questions now that you've seen the curriculum for the math?
I would ask if it was a standard curriculum for
Okay,
kindergarten.
yeah, good question. I would ask, how do I get her listed, classified as gifted and talented? Straight A's with,
Yeah,
what's probably a first grade math curriculum. All right, so we're going to move on. Time has passed, and your child is growing and doing well. And your child is now in the ninth grade. And your child brings home straight A's. This is the sample report card that your child is bringing home. Do you have some different questions than you would have had for the kindergartner?
I, I have never seen a ninth grader get all A's.
Well, then you never saw mine. No. Uh, is there nothing that she needs to work on? Good question. Um, I might ask, how do I challenge? How do we challenge this child? Could we give some extra work? Uh, so think about what questions you could ask. I'm going to throw a wrench. So now you go in for your report card night. You get you have the report card and you ask to see the math curriculum. This is the ninth grade math curriculum on which your child is getting straight A's. Please tell me you have some questions,
That's red flags everywhere.
right? So what questions do you ask now? Is this grade age appropriate? I would ask,
Yeah.
how is this grade or age appropriate? Because we want them to explain it to us. Are there some other questions that you might ask?
How could this be the same curriculum as the kindergarten?
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think this is far-fetched?
In today's society, no.
Can I tell you that it isn't? There
No.
are ninth graders that are learning at levels, if not kindergarten, well below it.
Yeah.
So this goes to the what does my child need to learn question? Because obviously, this is what my child is learning. And based on learning this, the one before it was how your child was performing. But is your child learning what they need to learn?
Not doing kindergarten math in ninth grade.
Exactly. So in the need to learn piece, I remember earlier on when I asked for those questions, someone said, may I see a copy of the curriculum? You want to ask that the beginning of whatever grade level it is. And you want to ask, what are the New Jersey standards for this grade level? You also want to ask, how may I see a copy? And how are your lesson plans? How are your lesson plans aligned to the curriculum? And how is the curriculum aligned to the New Jersey standards?
Right.
So these are some of the questions that you should be asking. But under each one of those, remember to do your brainstorming and branching so that if you're fixed on one question when you get in and you have the 5 minutes, you're asking the ones that you need to be asking to make sure that you're advocating for your child. So now we're going to look at 3 words, and I'm going to come back to Zoom again. First word is support. You can again put it in the chat or shout it out. What does the word support mean to you?
Showing
Just in
up,
general, in life. Say again, Linda.
showing up, showing
Showing
up.
up. Yes.
Resources.
Resources. So the dictionary definition of support is to hold or prop up, right? Thinking just generically about the word support.
Sorry,
What?
sorry.
Go ahead, Vilma.
This was another answer that was doing before. You were talking about the questions of the what do you call that the parents can make. But sometimes when you go and talk to the teacher, maybe the teacher is expecting you to go step by steps. Because if we go late at the end, let's say like May, and the parent should have been asking these questions during the month of
In
October
September, yes.
or September,
Yes.
then everything comes obsolete because she didn't have time, and then there is no way of her helping the child. So that's what
So true.
sometimes we had the summer programs, and the teacher will say, "Well, let's help her to level up for all the work that he or she has missed."
Sure. So my
Yes,
answer to that is ask early and ask often
Often.
because things change. So as soon as your child starts that grade, there's a new teacher. See if you can get an audience with the teacher. Let them know that you're interested and let them know that you're watching. So back to, thank you for that, Vilma. Very important. So going back to support, what are some things that you do to support children, your child or another child that you care for or a family member? What do you give them? How do you make them ready to learn? How do you make them ready for life? So when I think about support, even if you think about child support, right? What is that?
Money,
Money, right? What else do you give them to make sure that they have what they need?
supplies,
Supplies.
time,
Say again.
time.
Clothes, a place to eat, sleep, and rest, right? Those are all the things that we do to support our children. The second word is monitor. What does the word monitor mean?
to look after, to look.
Look after. Look after or watch over. Both those things. What are some things that you do to monitor the children?
Their grades, keep an eye on their grades.
Keep an eye on their grades.
In today's society, you have to watch out for social and emotional. Are they getting what they need there as
Mhm.
well?
Sure.
Check their homework.
Check their homework. Mhm. Other things that you can do to monitor? Do you check to see what they're doing on social media? Do you know who their friends are? We all monitor our kids, right? What are those things? Do you know what they're watching on TV? Do you know what the lyrics are to the songs
That's
that
all.
are in their head that you never hear because they all have earbuds? What are they listening to? What are they watching? What are they learning in and out of school? Um, who are their friends? Those are all things that we do to monitor. So day in, day out, we're always supporting and monitoring. The piece that I had to learn to do, and for some of us it comes naturally, depending on your circumstances. What do you do to advocate? What does advocate mean?
To speak up, to talk for.
Mhm. Right? So, what are some of the things that you can do to advocate for your child? One is ask the right questions. What are the other things that you could do to advocate for your child that you do all the time?
For his feeling.
You ask them how they're feeling. Yes. You perhaps ask the teacher if there's a special support that the child needs. You might ask the teacher, are they getting this support?
My son, my little one have 504. Is the last time had something problem for
Mm,
his father and separated for violent domestic.
mm,
He
Mm.
when he's studying fifth grade, he's not feeling okay.
mhm,
And somebody teachers call me, make me email and say, okay, I need to talk to you for something. And go
mhm,
talk to my English is not okay for she's coming with me talking me rush. But
Mm.
same me, my son is now is a STEAM Academy for his grow is good grade. He
awesome.
for the question is he's have a something he's not see his father for something happened in the past. For
Mm.
Mm,
he's working, he's feeling, he's every time the teacher says something, he's cry or see or he's shine or he's be quiet. If the teacher say he's not talk and go teacher to him, he's not say something. Say, excuse me, he's not feeling okay. You need
mhm,
understand what she say. No, that's a school to advance. That's a school not what is feeling. You excuse me, you are the teacher. You're supposed to have patience.
mhm.
He's not feeling okay. Okay, he's go talking somebody. He's talk to him.
Right.
Mm.
Send it to
Good work,
me.
Mom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he sent me to me happen. He say, okay, you see what is the good idea? Take it up, you kid the school in next
Mhm.
year. Try. I say, excuse me.
Yeah.
No, you
That's
need
a
take
very important role for parents is to advocate for our children
a
on
change.
all levels.
In the
Yeah.
3 months, he's starting that year. You're supposed
Mm,
to take a chance and talk to him. And he talked to the three different teachers.
mhm,
Say to one, the one teacher is so wonderful teacher for say, okay, your kid's making something that is good. Kids is intelligent, he's smart. He's taking, he's grow up. You need only putting attention. He said, okay, thank you very much for your say. But
mhm.
I need you listen what I'm saying. Is
Yes.
how something happen, he need you have patience. I understand this school is advanced. For
Mhm.
first, you need what is feeling.
Yes. It's really important. I'm glad you stepped up. And that's the piece that I want to encourage parents to do and caregivers because you are their voices when they can't speak for themselves. And sometimes they could speak for themselves, but people aren't hearing them. And so this is where, as an adult, we encourage you to step in and say, these are what the needs are. And then we want to take the advocacy just a little bit further to say, take the opportunities to go to the mic at the school board and speak on behalf of your child and other children. Find out when the open public meeting is, go to the mic and speak. And then there are other advocacy opportunities. Maybe you write a letter or sign a petition to ask for more money for schools or for a new playground. Whatever the case is not always speaking, but it's to speak and act on behalf of your children. And so in ask the right question as you think about what the questions are, etc., also think of your roles, and this will help you come up with your questions as as parents need to support, parents need to monitor, and parents need to advocate. And those are the three things to remember. Now, also, do you have a friend in the building? Who is that person that you have their cell phone number or they know you by name, even though there are 200 kids in the building, or they know your child by name? Who is that person? If you don't have one, I encourage you to make a friend in the building. It could be the security guard, the custodian, the lunch monitor, an educator, an administrator, the nurse. It just helps you with relationships, with knowing what's going on, and with having somebody who you could call and talk to about your child in general or any issues that are happening in the building. And then I encourage you to think today and put it in the chat. What is one thing that you learned today that you can do differently to build relationships to support your children? Is there one thing that you could do differently after today's workshop? You can pop it out in the chat or out loud.
Continue to monitor, advocate, and support.
And if you haven't so far, think about it in that way and think about how you help the child. Ask the questions. Some of these friends, Alexis, thanks for capturing that. Friends you can make in the building, make more open questions, and ask more questions. I don't care if it's the supermarket clerk. Ask more questions, practice asking your questions, speak up when something is not working. And those are the things that I want to encourage you to do as you move forward. And then finally, use your questions to build relationships, not to attack. Of course, use them to clarify when you need clarification, but remember that attitude is everything. You want to build relationships because that will help your child go further. Even if you're angry or something's happened to cause harm, which we'll talk about when we do restorative practices, it is better if you have a relationship with people in the building. You can get your issues addressed that way because they know who you are and they know who your child is and they know why you're there. So I encourage you to put these things into practice, and you will get some information from the hub about the next workshop when we will indeed look at understanding the school budget. And with that, it is 6:59. I like to start on time and end on time. I will take any other questions that you have. And if none, enjoy your evening and thanks again for coming. And Alexis, thank you for your good work helping us through this.
Thank you very much for your information.
You're
God bless you.
welcome. All right. God bless. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night, everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank
Okay.
Good
you.
night,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.
This is wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Good night. Good night, Rosie. Good night,
Good night.
Linda.
Good night.